Hello, welcome to Coraline Part 2. So I assume you've seen these in my first Coraline video and have come back for more? There is a but in this video, because I've cast a new cast. If you came from my first Coraline video, thank you for returning and your support. Also, I believe we have some new people, so let's welcome everyone. Very nice to meet you. With my ideas, I was like, what do I start with? Well, I started with Mr. Bobinsky's popcorn. This was when Coraline and YB get invited to watch Mr. Bobinsky's Jumping Mice performance, and she snacks on some popcorn while enjoying the show. Pour some oil into the pan, add in your popcorn kernels, cover the pan with a lid. For 5 minutes on medium heat, they will gradually pop. Wait for it. Boop. Once they've popped, add in some butter and salt to flavor the popcorn. And voila, basic popcorn. They already look golden as is. A nice snack too, not only for Coraline. There we have it. Our popcorn into the bowl. Also, this dead plant gave me Coraline energy, so let's pair them together. And I'm happy just like Coraline. I won't say it's as great as cinema popcorn, but it's popcorn for when you're home. Not too sweet nor salty, but crunchy. After she gets hold of some popcorn, she hears some mini cannon sounds and turns to YB, who has had some cotton candy stuck on him. And she says, "Look at you!" So I've got my popcorn ready for our next performance because this next feast is a big one and you may spend the whole day doing this. Next up, we have the pre-Miss Spink and Ms. Forcible's performance. Coraline walks into the kitchen and finds the table full of food: pepperoni pizza, hot dogs, grilled cheese sandwiches, chocolate cupcakes, nachos with salsa, cookies, lemonade. She also finds a note written by her other mother letting her know about Miss Spink and Ms. Forcible's performance. Because I have luck with brownies, I'm making brownie muffins. Get some baking dark chocolate and then chop them up. She also gets a new outfit, a navy blue sweater with white stars, black bottoms, and blue boots. Then some butter. Also, this recipe doesn't belong to me. I followed Pretty Simple Sweets recipe, and it's linked below if you're interested. Combine the dark chocolate and the butter, melt it in the microwave for 30 seconds. Then gently mix them together. Remaking the scene of her going down the stairs for the first time. Preparing all-purpose flour and cocoa powder. Guess what I'm doing? Yep, sift them, both the cocoa powder and the all-purpose flour. And aren't they fine? Crack some eggs. I think these were 2 eggs. Ooh, whoopsies. Instead of regular white sugar from the recipe below, I've used coconut sugar instead. Tell me, doesn't this electric whisk remind you of YB's first appearance? Whisk the eggs and sugar mixture, and then add in the melted butter and chocolate. Then on the higher setting, whisk again. Pour in the sifted cocoa powder and flour into the wet. Isn't this pretty? It hasn't even been baked yet. Gently. Right, cupcake liners. Pour in the brownie batter evenly over the 12 cupcake liners. It already smells so good. Bake for 15 minutes and make sure you have your timer on, just like I do. While waiting, let's be Coraline, just being bored and walking around the house. This is not my house, by the way. Ooh, they're almost almost done. Look at the top, those cracks. Yes. Just checking if they're done. Yep, the toothpick is clean. If only you guys were here, you could have smelled this wonderful brownie smell. I'm so glad nothing went wrong. Jumping to the next day because I left the brownies in the fridge. Starting with my mini food blender, I'm putting in some baby plum tomatoes, minced garlic, chopped purple onion, chili powder, cumin, lemon juice, salt, black pepper, and then blend it all together. This salsa has a strong smell of cumin and all that spices in there. I like my salsa chunky, so I didn't blend it until it was very smooth. Just some tomatoes and onion bits being visible, and there. Now the salsa's done and over with, because now it's pizza time. We've got some flour, salt, just 2 ingredients, and then some warm water. Pour in some dry yeast. Mix. I followed Gennaro Contaldo's pizza tutorial, which was entertaining to watch. And have you watched it? His requires 2 hours of proofing the dough, so be well prepared and plan ahead. Please. We'll need some extra salt, olive oil, and semolina flour, as these ingredients haven't been mentioned in his recipe. I used this method to create the pizza dough, then topped the pizza with Coraline's toppings. Then, once you can form it into a dough, roll in one way, then take the 2 ends, fold them in, and continue to roll. We have a smooth dough ball. You know it's ready when it bounces back after poking it. Then, divide in 4 parts, and you'll get 4 pizza dough balls. You can make 3 more pizzas with these. Glad his recipe is a quick version for making pizza dough compared to Neapolitan pizza doughs. With the semolina flour part, I replaced semolina with breadcrumbs, which worked wonders, so thank you Gennaro for giving advice on the substitution. Place the pizza dough balls on the breadcrumbs, then cover with a damp cloth, but I used cling film because I didn't have any damp cloth. And then just leave them to rest. Thinking about the pizza base, I went with some passata sauce. Slice some tomatoes, then scoop out the seeds with a spoon, just like how I'm doing it right now. In a pot, saute some minced garlic and chopped purple onion. Add in the tomatoes. You can squash them up if you ever get impatient like I have here. Over a few minutes, the tomatoes will start to lose their shape and break off. In some tomato paste for some color, also helps with thickening the passata. Back to the pizza dough, I flattened 1 pizza ball. I saw how Gennaro flattened the pizza base. He kind of held one edge and let it hang while moving it in a circle. Then Coraline's pizza looked quite cheesy, so I was thinking a cheddar cheese layer. However, I used this vegan BioLife non-dairy cheese alternative because I wanted to use it. Then some pepperoni. I did observe how many pepperoni Coraline's pizza had, and this is the layout. So 3 pepperoni on 2 sides and 2 pepperoni on the other 2 sides. Then some mozzarella for some extra cheesy color. Also, making sure the pepperoni is on top of the mozzarella so that they're visible in the end result. Once we're done, we bake it. Can you see the pizza bubbling? While the pizza's doing its thing, we're going back to the brownie cupcake. For the frosting on top of the cupcakes, I started with butter, confectioner's sugar, cranberry powder, which I got from Grape Tree, and vanilla extract. Then, when I whisked this mixture, I realized I did something dumb because I was missing the liquid part of this frosting. So, I added some milk, which now, as you can see, is coming together now. It's becoming thicker, so I whisked it until it became quite thick. This frosting isn't like normal frosting, it was quite liquidy, but hey, I told you I am not great at baking, and at least it stays for the picture, which you'll see later on. For the cherries on top. There was still time with the rest of the food, so I placed these cupcakes in a box. and put them in the fridge to set aside, as well as to let them harden itself. Next, the hot dogs. 3 brioche rolls used for hot dogs. I wanted bread that was sweet, so like brioche because it feels like Coraline has a sweet tooth, and also it has a nice contrast with the savory taste from the frankfurters later on. I did not forget the lemonade, right here. So, to make it sweet, I'm using Manuka honey. Then I poured in some hot water just to get the honey moving around. Squeezing out some lemon juice. Squeeze! More water. To complete the look, we're adding a lemon slice on the edge. And there we have it, our lemonade. Now for the grilled cheese sandwiches. I'm starting with some red onion that has been sliced and I'm sauteing them in a pot. Took some white bread and spread some butter on one side, then more of those vegan bio-live non-dairy cheese alternative, and then the sauteed red onions, and then some mozzarella. Topped it with the other white bread, just kept toasting until either sides were lightly browned. These looked like a mixture of chocolate flavored cookies and the normal milk chocolate cookies, so I just got lazy and I bought these store-bought fresh cookies. I love them. These are from Co-op. Yeah, they taste really good. Tortilla crisps for the nachos. And I'm now ready to assemble according to the picture, and I know that the salsa goes beside the nachos, and then the hot dogs on the left side, the pizza right there. The cheese is melted and you can see how cheesy it's going to be later on. Yay! Now I just have to cut it so you can clearly see the division of the pepperonis for each slice according to the picture. This is really pretty, very dreamy, a dreamy shot. Still in slow-mo. But let's take, this chance to admire what's in front of us. And I was meant to put the olive on the grilled cheese sandwiches and it just got slower. Anyway, I did not forget the olives there. And our last touch. Remember the present that the other mother gives Coraline right there. Yeah, I just grabbed a shoebox and then wrapped it with the black t-shirt. And then some flowery tape as the ribbon on the box, as well as the letter with her name on it. Dearest Coraline, Miss Spink and Ms. Forcible have invited you downstairs after lunch. I hope you liked the new outfit I made you. Love, Mother. There we go. We're all done. Yay! Finally, after 24 hours. Took forever, this one, especially with the script and everything, but thank you for being patient. Last on the menu, I'm afraid, we've got the cocoa beetles. So this is when Coraline comes back to the other world after thinking the beldam has taken her real parents away from her. The beldam offers her some cocoa beetles while trying to ignore what Coraline is searching for, which is her real parents. So I'm starting off with some cooking Belgian milk chocolate. You can find the microwaving method on the back of the chocolate wrapper or use the stovetop method. It is a good idea to chop them up into pieces so that it makes the melting process easier. Get a mini pot onto the stove and then some boiling water. Place the chocolate on a heat-proof bowl on top. Then let the chocolate melt at its own pace. You could constantly stir the chocolate as well while they melt evenly. And look how chocolatey it is. And then I put 1.5 teaspoons around there of melted chocolate into each of these molds. You hear some sort of crunch when the beldam bites into the cocoa beetles, and so I'm using hazelnuts as the crunch. For that stretchy bit when she bites off of the cocoa beetles, I'm using some fudge. I used about 4 fudge little cubes for each cocoa beetle body. Importantly, I do not entirely own this recipe. It was inspired by Feast Fiction's video, which I watched, and it was amazing. And then I realized that I did not measure the amount of chocolate that I had enough to use, but anyway. Then into the freezer to harden up. In the meantime, with more dark chocolate, get them into small pieces and then melt them just like before. Ooh, would you look at that gooiness. It's so golden. This is the part where we make the cocoa beetles' legs. I just put the chocolate through a funnel into the piping bag. And then I just basically drew lots of lines and waited for the lines to harden up, and then you break them into pieces and you have pieces of cocoa beetle legs. Cocoa beetle bodies have hardened up, so time to put them on a piece of parchment paper. Then I made a tiny rectangle with a piece of aluminium foil and just put them on one side of the cocoa beetle body, then painted more dark chocolate on one side of the body, like so. And once you're done, you take the foil out, or you could also just use this brush thing. It's a lot more convenient actually. Look right here, look how easy it is, and peel it off, and it looks like the cocoa beetle body has more texture, more beetle-like. Would you look at that? And then golden luster dust, just like Feast Fiction's video. So they used golden luster dust to paint the lines of the beetle. Yeah, so their recipe is linked below. Just to remind you again, I do not own this recipe. I didn't have a tiny paintbrush like they did, so I'm just using a chopstick, and hopefully some of the golden luster dust would stick. Using your fingers do help as well. Dip some chocolate bits and then use that as a glue to glue the rectangular chocolate bits as their legs. I did the same to all of the cocoa beetle bodies and then put them into cupcake liners into a wooden box that I have close to the color of the cocoa beetle chocolate box. This is when the other mother takes a cocoa beetle and says, "They're cocoa beetles from Zanzibar." And that chewy bite that we just saw. The fudge didn't really help with the, elasticness of the other mother biting half of the cocoa beetle, but yeah, that's the color of it in the middle. I'll only eat 1 or 2 because 1 cocoa beetle is already very sweet. Right, so that's all for Coraline part 2. What do you think? Tell me which one was your favorite down below. Thank you, I'll see you next time. Any ideas, let me know.